All right, let's go over how to complete this mood mask project. I'll tell you that one of the best things will be to find a t-shirt design that's actually kind of cool looking. For instance, you can see here the one I had initially on this one. Um, it's in a cool font and all that. So like you want to have something that you can, a decent thing to start with. Um, and you're going to have a t-shirt design, and then you need to have a picture of your face. And you do need to select yourself well. So you're going to start off by opening the background image that I provided for you for this project, the paper BG. And then you're going to place your t-shirt design and your picture of yourself. So here's me, and you're going to want your head to be pretty big, so that you can use it on there. And then you want to place your t-shirt design. And be sure you're placing, if you're in Photopea, it's file open in place, because we want to make sure that it names these layers for us so that we don't have to do all that extra work. Okay. So once you get them on there, now we've got to remove the background on the image of yourself. So you're going to turn off the other layer. Depending on what program you're in, of course, you can choose whatever tools you want. What you don't want to do is use a plain lasso or just a brush on a layer mask. Use something better, whether you start with a magnetic lasso and work your way around, or whether you use something else. My instructions to you were to try to get a picture of yourself on a relatively solid background, because then you might be able to get away with using the magic wand or something like that. So just, try your best to get a good selection. And then, of course, you can touch it up on the mask, which I'll have to do on this one too. But like, you want to start off with a decent selection. If you're in Photoshop, you can go ahead and select a mask, and you can go fix this stuff by turning down the view on the mask so you can see better. If you're not in Photoshop and you're in Photopea, you can still pull up the properties panel and pull the density of your layer mask back once you put it on there, and then touch it up. So let me add my layer mask. So now I can pull this density back so that I can actually see the edges of my mask. And then I can zoom up real close. And if I've got those pulled back where I can see it, then I'm able to brush with my black brush to hide and my white brush to bring it back in. Of course, you're going to want to be using an actual brush. I have it on like a humongous brush here. Um, and then you can paint those things back in as needed. Okay. So basically go do that. And I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do all this. My computer's running really slow right now. Anyway, but you want to make sure that your mask looks pretty good. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it just needs to look, pretty decent, at least from a distance. Okay, so once you're done, let's pretend that actually looks good. It doesn't, but I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do this forever. So let me go back to my properties panel and put the density all the way back up. All right, so now I've got my person on here. And again, touch yours up better. I'm just trying to do this quickly. And then we've got the shirt. So for your shirt, you're just going to go old-fashioned here. We're going to add a layer mask and use a big, huge brush. So big, huge standard brush. This is not big. Okay, I'm talking big, like big, okay, and soft. So all the way down on the hardness, black to hide. I got black on top down here, and we're gonna hide. Honestly, I would probably go way bigger than this still. All right, there we go. So now it blends. See how it's blending a lot better? And probably you should turn your other layer off. You want to make sure that you get rid of all of the edges. You don't want to have the neck in there. You don't want to have anybody's arm in there. You don't want to see anybody's pants. Like, it needs to just be the design, okay? And it's okay if it fades a little bit at the edges. It's actually going to look cool if it does that. And we'll probably also pull the opacity back on this a bit so that it blends into the background even more. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then we can put your person back on there. And you can still Control T, and wiggle this around, or, whatever you want to do to it. Now, as you do more things to it, you may end up, deciding that you need to change the position or make it bigger or smaller or whatever. But anyways, all right, so there we go. You do want it to overlap your person, but it doesn't have to like be straight up in their face or anything. All right, so then the last thing that we're going to do is, once you've got your person looking better than mine, we're going to utilize a brush on this layer mask. And when I'm evaluating these, I want to see that you used a layer mask. So I should see that there was a good selection to begin with. I should not see a blob like this top one around your person, because I want to know that you used the right tool first before you did this next step. So we're not just painting out the edges of your person like we are the t-shirt. Okay. On this one, we're going to take and load some brushes. I give you two to choose from, dispersion and grunge. I'm going to use the dispersion brushes, but don't forget, you'll load those. I provided them. You'll import, or you'll just click the drop down in Photopea to load that brush. There's 3 of them in here, and they're all just kind of like little spattery looking things. So we're just going to use those to kind of grunge out the edges. So we're going to hide. So I'm going to make sure I have black on top over here, and I do. And you might want to use like a bigger brush, but you're just there we go. We're just kind of tapping at the edges a little bit to kind of give it a kind of, I don't know, grunge isn't even really the right word. We want to give it just kind of a different feel. And I don't know that I like this brush very much, but there's a couple of others. This one here is lighter, so it probably wouldn't be quite as annoying looking. But anyway, and you can drag your brush more to get little teeny pieces. All right, and then once you kind of get that dispersion look going on, pull your opacity back on your person a little bit. You could play with the blending mode. That's what this is. But not very many of those are going to look all that great. Now remember, if you get too far in, like I did on my eyes, switch your color to white and take a regular brush and just paint back in like over your face, because you don't want your eyes to be messed up. But you can kind of paint back in over your face. And probably I should have used a soft brush there. So it wasn't quite so harsh to those other pieces. But there you go. So just basically kind of something like that's all we're looking for. Again, you can mess with the opacity a little bit if you don't like the way it looks. That's what we're looking for. So you'll turn in a screenshot to Canvas. You will export this as a JPEG and put it in your portfolio. And of course, always save your PSD file in case you have to make any